Hey, that's mine.
No, it's mine.
No, that is my book.
No, it's my book. What are you doing?
Let's talk fantasy, shall we? So lately I've been in the mood to read fantasy books. I don't care what kind of fantasy books, whether it's middle grade or young adult or high fantasy or urban fantasy. I don't really care. I just want to read fantasy. So I have compiled a list on this bill that I got in the mail of all of the fantasy books and series and authors that I want to read soonish. First up is the Percy Jackson series. Now I have read the very first book. I read that a few years ago, and for some reason I never read any of the other books. I loved that. I loved that book. It was great, but I never got around to the other books in the series. Don't know why. So a few days ago I picked up Sea of Monsters, which is the second book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series by Rick Riordan. I'm currently that far through and I'm loving it. I don't know why it's taking me so long to read the rest of the books in the series. Another fantasy that I want to read is the Immortal Nicholas Flamel series. It's a middle grade fantasy and it just looks really fun. Another fantasy author that I want to read is this guy right here, Brendan Mull. He wrote the FABLEHAVEN series and the Beyonders, and he is on his new series right now, which is called The Five Kingdoms. Another fantasy author who is also a Brandon is Brandon Sanderson. I have heard all kinds of good stuff about this guy. I hear that he writes some amazing epic fantasy books. Also books that are like really huge, so that's a little scary for me. This next one is a young adult series that just started last year, and it is called the Dune series by Lori Langdon and Carrie Court. I read the first book last year and I really enjoyed it, and the second book is coming out in September of this year and I'm really looking forward to it. I've been thinking about it like crazy and I want the second book right now. Like right now. Another fantasy book I want to read is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Nope, I have never read The Hobbit. There you go. I haven't even watched any of the movies yet because I've been holding off. I really want to read the book before I see the movie. Obviously, that's usually the way it goes. Also, The Lord of the Rings. I haven't read The Lord of the Rings. I had seen the movies several times as a kid, and then when I finally checked into the books, I saw how big they were, and I'd seen the movies so many times, and it was as if Gandalf was saying, "You shall not pass!" But I will. I will pass, and I will read those books some point in the future. And last up is the Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin, or the Game of Thrones, however you want to call it. I've been putting off this series for way too long now, so I'm gonna finally do it and check it out, see what it's like. I haven't seen the show, so I'll be going into it with my mind anew. So that is all for this video. There are a ton of other fantasy books that I would like to read at some point, but we'd be here all day if I started talking about the rest. So I'm not going to do that to you. Instead, I will just say bye.